संबोध पदम पूजय ते नमः। नमः भक्ति विनोद सच्चिदानंद नामने गौर शक्ति स्वरूप रूपनुग वरायते गौर वीरभ भूमेस्त्वं निर्देश साजन प्रिया वैष्णव सर्वभूम श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। वंश कल्पतरुभय चक्र प्रसन्नुभ इवचा पतितानं पावनभ्यो वैष्णव्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावादनयाय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरित विषय नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपीश गोपी कंठ राधा कंठ नमोस्तुते तप्त कंचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुतदेवी प्रणमामि हरे प्रिया जयतम सुरतो पंगो मम मंदिर मतिर्गति मत्सर्वास पदम भोज राधा मादन मोहन दिव्य विंदरान कल्प द्रुमद श्रीमद रत्नागर सिंहासनस्थो श्रीमद राधा श्रील गोविंद देव पृष्ठालभे सेव मानुष स्मरमि श्रीमद रास रसंबरी वंशी वदस तथा सिता कर्षण वेणुस्वानी गोपीर गोपीनाथ श्रियस्तुना विंदाय तुलसी देवे प्रियाय केशवाश कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यवते नमो नमः। पांचतत्वात्मकं कृष्ण भक्ति रूप स्वरूपकं भक्तवातरं भक्तज्ञं नमामि भक्त शक्तिकं श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसति गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
Thank you, Anu Prabhu. Dandavat Params Gurudev. Hare Krishna. Maharaj, can you hear?
Hare Krishna. Dandavat.
Yes, Dandavat Params, Maharaj.
Okay.
Maharaj, you can start reading now, Maharaj.
Yes.
Okay.
So we are page number chapter 3, page
chapter
number
4,
47.
Maharaj.
Page
47.
number 47 in chapter 3.
Okay.
Shri Antardip.
Okay.
So in the small book, Navadvipa-dhama-mahatmya. Understand?
Anu Prabhu, can you do the taping of this program, please? Anu?
Time Mataji.
Can you do the taping of it, please? Recording.
Okay, no problem, Mataji.
Oh, thank you.
So we are at Navadvipa-dhama-mahatmya. Reading from chapter 3.
Maharaj.
All right. Page number 47.
Small book.
Page number 47, small book. Shri Antardip. Ganga Yamunara Yoge Jai Diparaya. Om Gyanti Brandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshumi Tamena Pasumi Namam Vishnu Paraya Radhikaya Priyatmani Shishun Bhaktivedanta Narayana Namini. सर्वप्रथम अस्मदीय गुरुपाद पद्मनितला पृष्ठजत गुरु शिष्य भक्तिदांत नारायण गोस्वामी महाराज त्रिवेणी स्वामी शिष्य भक्तिदांत दंडी महाराज नामनिष्ठ संत श्री अनिरुद्धदास प्रभु जी और समस्त वैष्णव के चरणों में यथा के दंडवत प्रणाम अर्पण करता हूँ। उनकी कृपा की प्रार्थना करता हूँ। श्री अंतरदीप गंगा यमुना योगे जय द्वीपरय अंतरदीप तारा नाम सर्वशास्त्रे कय. All holy scriptures call the island formed at the confluence of the rivers Ganga and Yamuna Antardip. So you can see that this is a very important island, Antardip. It is formed at the confluence of the rivers Ganga and Yamuna. Antardipa madhye ache pitha mayapura jathaya janmila prabhu chaitanya thakura. Sriman Mahaprabhu took birth in Mayapur Yoga Pit in the center of Antardip. मायापुर इज गोकुल महावन ऑफ ब्रज. गोलोकेर अंतर्वर्ती जय महावन मायापुर नवद्वीपे जान भक्तगण. गोकुल महावन in Golok corresponds with Mayapur in Shri Navadvip Dham. So Srila Gurudev was telling that every single dham of Krishna in Vrindavan is also present in Navadvip, but it is in a crooked form. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, Gurudev was telling Krishna is crooked, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is even more crooked. So that's why the abode of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also has all the abodes of Krishna, but it is in a crooked form, not recognized. Understand? Because love is never straightforward. Gurudev was telling that love is always crooked. The way of love is always crooked. So here, गोलोकेर अंतर्वर्ती जय महावना मायापुर नवद्वीपे जान भक्तगण. Gokul Mahavan in Golok corresponds with Mayapur in Shri Navadvip-dhama. All dhamas and tirthas are present in Shri Navadvip-dhama. Shvetadvipa Vaikuntha Goloka Vrindavana Navadvipe Sabatattva Ache Sarvakshana. Shvetadvip, Vaikuntha, Golok and Shri Vrindavan are always splendidly situated in Shri Navadvip-dhama. So Shvetadvip is the spiritual sky. Topmost planet in the spiritual sky is called Shvetadvip. That is also present in Navadvip. Vaikuntha is there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets where Narayan and his incarnations like Kurma, Varaha, Matsya, they reside. That Vaikuntha is also present in a corner of Navadvip-dhama, place called Vaikuntapur, where Ramanujacharya went. The entire Golok Vrindavan is present in Navadvip-dhama. And Shri Vrindavan is obviously present in Navadvip-dhama because Navadvip and Shri Vrindavan are non-different. So you can see how glorious is Navadvip-dhama. Ayodhya, Mathura, Maya, Kashi, Kanchiyara, Avanti, Dwaraka, Sei, Puri, Saptasara. Navadvipe se samasta nija nija sthane nitya vidyamana gaura chandera vidane. According to Srimad Mahaprabhu's arrangement, the 7 holy cities, Ayodhya, Mathura, Maya. Maya means, Mayapuri means Haridwar. Kashi, Kanchi, Avanti, Ujjain and Dwarka are eternally situated in their respective places in Shri Navadvip-dhama. Means there are actually 7 holy cities in India which bestow liberation. And they are all present in Navadvip-dhama. Rupa Goswami explains these 7 cities, that how among these 7 cities Mathura is the supreme. Adyavanti patadgraham gurukare maesha nirvijaya chatram kanchi gruhana kashipurata padu yugam dharaya nayodhe bhaja sambramam satikatham nodgaraya dwarake deviyam bhavati shuhanta mathura drushti prasadam dade. That how all the other cities are serving Mathura, but that Mathura is also present in Navadvip-dhama. So all the 7 cities, Sapta Mokshadaini Puri, the 7 cities that bestow liberation are also present in Navadvip-dhama. Gangadwara Maya Raswarupa Mayapur Jaramatma Shastriya Che Prachur. The city Maya Haridwar at Gangadwar is situated in its actual form in Mayapur. Excellence of this place is described repeatedly throughout the scriptures. So you can see that how Haridwar in original form is present in Mayapur. Sei Mayapure Jai Jaya Ekabar Anayase Hayase Jada Mayapar. One who even once visits Mayapur, the residence of all sacred places, easily crosses the material realm. So here is very clear that if you visit Mayapur, then very easily you can cross the material world. Yad gatvana nivartante tad dhama paramama. Like Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita, that once you go to spiritual world, you never return. So Mayapur also like that. Then you are not no more in Maya once you go to Mayapur. The fruit of wandering throughout Mayapur. Mayapure भ्रमिले मायार अधिकार दूरे जाय जन्म कबू नहीं आर बार. One who wanders throughout Mayapur becomes freed from the control of the illusory energy and from taking birth in this material world again. So basically, we are suffering in this material world. We have been wandering through millions of species, but here Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is telling that once you visit Mayapur, then you are free from the control of illusory energy. Then you never have to take birth in this material world. Like Gurudev was also telling that don't think that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is any less than Narottam Das Thakur. Actually, he is as good as Narottam Das Thakur. Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur is also incarnation of Kamala Manjari. He is eternal associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Rules for performing Navadvipa-dhama Parikrama. So here we discussed Shri Antardeep from the Parikrama Khanda. Rules for performing Shri Navadvipa-dhama Parikrama. मायापुर उत्तरे सीमंत दीपहय परिक्रमा विधि साधु शास्त्रे सदाकय अंतर्दीपे मायापुर करिय दर्शन श्री सीमंत दीपे चल विज्ञ भक्त जन. Simanta Deep is situated to the north of Shri Mayapur. With regard to the procedure of parikrama of Navadvip, saints and holy scriptures consistently state, O learned devotees, please proceed to Shri Simanta Deep after visiting Antardeep Shri Mayapur. So first you have to visit Antardeep, Mayapur. Simanta Deep is where Parvati resides. Parvati in India, the women have parting of the hair like this between the hair, and they put the vermilion powder in between. So there she put the foot dust of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Parvati. But for what? Women put vermilion powder between the parting of their hair to get a long life for their husband. But Parvati put for Gaura Bhakti, Krishna Bhakti. Understand? That is Simanta Deep. This Pradesh, the parting of the hair between the hair of the woman is called Simanta. And the woman who has parting of the hair is called Simantini. Simantini means Parvati. So, then later on, Godramakhya Deepahaya Mayara Dakshine Taha Brahmichala Madhya Deepe Hasta Rishtamane. After visiting Simanta Deep, take darshan of the island named Godruma, situated south of Mayapur. Then blissfully go to Madhya Deepa. Madhya Deep is also called Modadruma Deep. এই চারি দ্বীপ জাহ্নবীর পূর্ব তীরে দেখিয়া জাহ্নবী পর ধীরে ধীরে. These four islands, Antardeep, Simantadip, Godrumadip and Madhyadip, are situated on the river Jahnavi's eastern bank. After taking darshan of them, reverentially cross the river Jahnavi Ganga by taking Achman and bathing in her waters and then glorifying her with the prayer. Only by your mercy is it possible to attain darshan of the Dham. Then take darshan of the other five islands, Koladip, Rutadip, Janmadip, Modramadip and Rudradip. So, as you see that Mayapur or Antardeep is located on the eastern bank of the Ganga river. Understand? And Mayapur is the original mutt, Sri Chaitanya mutt is situated there. And then our Navadvipa-dhama, Shri Keshavji Gaudiya Math or Devanand Gaudiya Math, Shri Param Gurudev's Math or Gurudev's Math, they are situated in Koladip. Koladipānaya se karya brahmana Rutadvipe sabha shobha tabe kar darshan. Effortlessly walk around Koladip and then behold the splendor of Rutadvip. Right. So now we'll so actually Gurudev was telling one very nice memory of his Navadvipa-dhama Parikrama. As you know that Srila Gurudev was a police officer, but when he heard the Harikatha of Srila Narottamananda Prabhu, who later on became Srila Bhakti Kamal Madhusun Maharaj, he joined the Gaudiya Math. He came to Gaudiya Math one night and Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj sent Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj to bring him from the station. So Srila Gurudev came to the Math. Parikrama was going on. So was about to start and Gurudev participated in the Parikrama. So when Gurudev was always wanted to do some service. So Gurudev took some sabji, some rice in a bucket and he wanted to distribute that prasad. So they allowed him to distribute prasad to all the people. But where the sannyasis like Param Gurudev was sitting, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj and other sannyasis were sitting, he was not allowed to do serving there. Then he asked, why am I not allowed to serve to my Guru there? Then they told that you are not initiated. But then Gurudev said that, oh, I am born in a Brahmin family. They said, no, just wait for 2-3 days. Gaura Purnima day you will be initiated. Then you can serve your Gurudev. So then Gurudev waited for 2-3 days. Then Gurudev went and after Gaura Purnima he was able to serve the Param Gurudev with prasadam and everything. So it means that Gurudev was telling that unless one is initiated, one is actually not a devotee in real sense. Means one must take Harinam, Gopal Mantra, Kam Gayatri, Gaur Mantra, Guru Mantra, Gaur Gayatri, in the male Brahma Gayatri. Then that person is really capable of serving the deities and Vaishnavas. Otherwise, if before taking initiation, if Gurudev was telling that if one is serving Giraj Shila or Gomati Shila, means Shaligram Shila, which is found in the Gomati river or Gandaki river, then it's an offense, understand? Because he doesn't have a real relationship with Guru. So Gurudev was telling that even I was not allowed to serve Param Gurudev before I was initiated. But Gurudev was looking proud that, oh, I am born in Brahmin family, how can they stop me? But they didn't allow. So it means that anyone born in actually any family has to take initiation. Like Gurudev was, someone asked Gurudev that Uddhava was not born in Brahmin family. He was a Kshatriya, he was born in Yadav dynasty, but Gurudev said he was more than a Brahmana. He was more than a Brahmana because he was a pure devotee. A pure devotee is always more than a Brahmana. So, ऋतुदीप देखा पुनः गंगा है पार भ्रमी मायापुरे भक्त चलार बार 30-33. After visiting Modadramadip, take darshan of Rudradeep and then again cross the Ganga and walk to Mayapur. So like this so there Tathaye Shri Jagannatha Shachiram Mandire Prabhu Darshane Pravesha Dhire Dhire. In Mayapur, respectfully enter Jagannath Mishra and Mother Shachi's temple, Yogapit, to take darshan of Mahaprabhu. Enter the Yogapit performing Nama Sankirtan and begging for the mercy of the nearby pastime places and beg forgiveness for offences committed consciously or unconsciously during the circumambulation of the Dham. So it means that you have to begin parikrama from Mayapur, then circumambulating all the 9 islands, means the 4 islands on the eastern bank of the Ganga and 5 islands on the western bank of Ganga. After you come back again, you have to come to Mayapur, Arantardeep. And then when you enter the temple of Sachinandan Gaur Hari, then you have to ask forgiveness at Yogapit. Oh, if I committed any offense in the parikrama of Dham, please, oh Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you are merciful, please forgive me. So, Sarvakale Rupa Parikramahaya Jiverananta Sukha Praptiralaya is always the procedure for performing the 16 koshas Navadvipa-dhama Parikrama. This parikrama is the abode for the jivas to attain unlimited happiness. So this is the process for performing the parikrama. And this parikrama is the abode for the jivas to attain unlimited happiness. Now, this is now the parikrama is beginning. So, now we'll read from the big book of Srila Gurudev about the glories of. This book is called Sri Navadvipa-dhama 2nd edition. I downloaded a low resolution PDF file from purebhakti.com. This book is translated from Hindi and there is also high resolution also available. I am now at the page number 14. I am at the page number 14 of this book, and this book is with me here, and I am reading now from the PDF on my computer. We are coming to Atopur. So here, actually Atopur Gram, actually it's called Antardeep, but people are in India, the pronunciation not good. So they cannot pronounce Antardip, which is a Sanskrit word, so they simplified it as Atopur. 400 Brahma performed austerities at Atopur Gram to become free from the offense he committed during Krishna's pastimes of stealing the cowherd boys and cows. So you know that Lord Brahma, he saw that Krishna killed Aghasur. Aghasur means the demon who is personification of sin, a snake demon. And then Krishna entered the mouth of that snake demon and expanded himself and killed the snake demon. The snake's soul came outside, and when Krishna came out, it entered the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Seeing this, Lord Brahma wanted to see some more pastimes of Krishna. So he stole the calves and cowherd boys of Krishna and he kept them in the golden caves of the golden mountain. And he came back and he saw that Krishna's pastimes are going as usual. Krishna himself had taken the shape of the cowherd boys and cows which were stolen by Brahma. Some people say that, Acharyas say that actually Brahma could not have stolen the cows and cowherd boys of Krishna. Krishna had kept the original set of cows and cowherd boys as he had sent them to some another Brahmanda where Krishna's pastimes were going on. And he only stole the facsimile, means the expansions of these cowherd boys and cows. So anyways, Brahma was stunned, and when Brahma tried to return to Satya Loka or Brahma Loka, his own gatekeepers threw him out. They said that original Brahma has already entered the Satya Loka in his palace and you are an impostor Brahma, get out of here. Get out of this place. Then Brahma realized actually the original Brahma is no one but Krishna. Krishna has entered his palace and because of his offense, Krishna is not even letting him in the Satya Loka, in his own palace. So, feeling deeply remorseful and having contemplated Sriman Mahaprabhu's coming pastimes and his beneficence, he worshipped the Lord at this place. So Mahaprabhu's pastimes are eternal, yet sometimes they manifest in this world and other times they do not. You should know that in Navadvipa-dhama or in Mathura-dham, Vrindavan-dham, Krishna's pastimes are always going on. Ashtakali Leela is always going on. Tavir nitya viharameva tanote Vrindavane madhav. Gostam bhojam mukhi viritya mukha. Roche priyai hara. Leela ratna rahasyata mrijapatir bhuyasya pashyat. Tattva gyopi purantare jagamanam vyachashta vayasaki. So generally speaking, the last Leela of Krishna is always going on in Shri Vrindavan Dham, and Shiva Sangan Kirtan, his nocturnal pastimes, his Nagar Kirtan, all these pastimes of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Navadvip, they are actually going on eternally. Gurudev was telling one thing, that most of the devotees, they see that, oh, Vishnu Priya and Mahaprabhu are together in the temple, their deities are there in Mayapur also. So highest conception to worship is Vishnu Priya and Mahaprabhu. But Gurudev told that even higher than the worship of Gaur Vishnu Priya is the worship of Gaur Gadadhar. But there is only one temple of Gaur Gadadhar in Navadvipa-dhama, and that is established by Dvija Maninath, who was the younger brother of Gadadhar Pandit, and that is in Champahati. So we are worshipping Gaur Vishnu Priya, but actually Gaur Gadadhar worship is higher. So the Gurudev was telling like this. Understood? So Mahaprabhu's pastimes in Navadvipa-dhama are eternal. Sometimes they are manifest, sometimes they are not manifest. Like for example, the sun is always in the sky in the daytime, but night time you cannot see the sun because of the geographical position. Or sometimes in the daytime also you cannot see the sun because the clouds are covering. So Mahaprabhu's pastimes are always going on in Vrindavan, in Navadvipa-dhama. As much as Krishna never leaves Vrindavan Dham, Mahaprabhu never leaves Navadvipa-dhama. Understand? Krishna never goes to any place other than Vrindavan Dham. So like that, Mahaprabhu also never leaves Navadvipa-dhama. But these pastimes are sometimes manifest, sometimes not manifest. Just like the sun is not sometimes manifest due to being covered by the clouds even in the daytime. Consequently, so Gurudev was telling that this Yoga Maya, like Gurudev said that how Pravada Maya temple is there in Pravada Matala. So Gurudev said that this Pravada Maya is Yoga Maya. And this Yoga Maya, she is actually covering Krishna's pastimes. So she has two qualities. She is Unmukha Akarshani and Vimukha Mohini. Something like this Gurudev was telling that Yoga Maya has two functions. Those who are devotees of Krishna, she will attract them to Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And those who are devoid of bhakti to Krishna, then she will delude them and take them away from Krishna or Mahaprabhu. So she has dual function, Maya, Yoga Maya. She attracts the devotees. When she attracts the devotees, she is Yoga Maya. And when she bewilders the demons and non-devotees, then she is Mahamaya. So Maya is also not two, only one. But one is the Kaya and one is the Chaya. Kaya means the body and Chaya means the shadow. So Yoga Maya is the Kaya and one is the Chaya. Understand? And then Gurudev was also telling that, it is very difficult to get Gopi Bhav. Very, very difficult to get Gopi Bhav. He said millions and millions of lifetimes are required to get Gopi Bhav. Gurudev was telling a story that how one time Krishna felt very thirsty. They were in the forest with Arjuna. And then Krishna told Arjuna, I am very thirsty, go bring water for me. So then Arjuna went to bring water. He saw a woman actually. And she was sitting there and she was not talking. She was simply sitting still. And there were two women actually on the bank of a river. So Arjuna was stunned. How come there are two women and not talking? Women always like to talk to each other. If there are two, they always talk. So Arjuna came to Krishna and said, Krishna, I went to the bank of a river and there were two women and they were not talking to each other. Then Krishna said, okay, let's go and inspect the situation. How is it possible two women are sitting next to each other and not talking? Then they saw actually there was only one woman. One was the original woman, the other was the shadow. Understand? Arjuna had mistaken the shadow to be another woman. So then Arjuna asked her that, who are you? Then she said, my name is Kalindi. I am the daughter of the sun god. He said, what are you doing here? She said, I am performing austerity here to get Krishna as husband. Okay? And how long she was performing austerity, Then Arjuna asked her, how long you have been performing austerity? She said, millions and millions of Brahmas have taken birth and died. And I am still doing austerity here. So you want to become a mere wife of Krishna. Not even Gopi Bhav. She was doing austerity for millions and trillions of years. Gurudev said, what to speak of getting Gopi Bhav. But Gurudev was telling that we should follow the verse of Srila Upadeshamrut of Srila Rupa Goswami, Utsahat Nishya Dhairya Tat Karma Pravartanat Sangat Tyaga Sato Vritte Shadvir Bhakti Prasidhati. Utsahat means we should be enthusiastic, and Dhairya means one should have forbearance, tolerance and patience. We should be patiently waiting that Krishna will certainly show me mercy. And don't think that it will take millions of lifetimes for me to get the Gopi Bhav. You should think that, okay, in this lifetime itself I'll get it. Krishna is very merciful. Be enthusiastic, don't be dull. So Gurudev said that because Krishna is merciful, especially Mahaprabhu is very merciful, he said, then you can get that mood, because Mahaprabhu especially came to give that mood. Anarpita charim chirat karana avatirana kalo. And Gurudev said that don't think that, I am so full of anarthas. I am not qualified even to hear these pastimes. I am not qualified even to chant Hare Krishna or do this bhajan. Gurudev said, don't think like this. He said that if you think that I am full of anarthas, so I am not engaging in hearing and chanting, then he said the anarthas will increase more and more. But if you start chanting and hearing, associating with sadhus, hearing Harikatha, then automatically all anarthas will go away. As much as the sun will rise, all the darkness is dissipated. No, darkness cannot be dissipated when the sun rises. So bhakti is like the sun. So when you start doing bhakti, automatically all the anarthas will go away. And especially, Krishna Naam Kare Aparadhar Vichar, Nama Lele Aparadhar Naye Vikar. बहुजन्म करियदि श्रवण कीर्तन तबु तन पाय कृष्ण पद प्रेम धन चैतन्य नित्यानंद ना ये सब विचार नाम लेते प्रेम धन भय सुधा. Although Hare Krishna mantra is the most powerful mantra, and but still there are some offenses considered in the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. But no such offenses are there in chanting the name of Gaur Nityananda's names. And in Navadvipa-dhama, if you visit physically or even mentally and offer pranam to Mahaprabhu, then all offenses will go away. That's why we are doing this parikrama of Navadvipa-dhama with Srila Gurudev's books. Understand? Because physically we are not there. So now, consequently, it is not against established philosophical conclusions to worship Sriman Mahaprabhu even before he performs his pastimes in this world. Satisfied with Lord Brahma's worship, Sriman Mahaprabhu appeared before him. Brahmaji begged forgiveness for his offenses and asked for a boon. So you see that Brahma is the primeval personality, he is the firstborn son of Krishna. So he is born from the navel of Garbhodakasha Vishnu. So Brahma is very, very old. Mahaprabhu appeared only 500 years ago, 535 years ago. So how come Brahma worshipped Mahaprabhu before his appearance? So this question doesn't arise because Mahaprabhu is eternal. So anyone can worship Mahaprabhu anytime, even in Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga. Anytime you can worship Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu is eternal. The question doesn't arise. Satisfied with Lord Brahma's worship, Sriman Mahaprabhu appeared before him. Brahmaji begged forgiveness for his offenses. When you exhibit your pastimes in this world, please arrange for me to take birth in a low-class family and thus in a mood of humility and wretchedness fulfill your innermost desire with my service. Sriman Mahaprabhu then granted Lord Brahma his boon, saying, you will take birth in a Muslim family and serve me by preaching and loudly chanting the holy names of Hari. I will appear in this form of Gauranga, having accepted the sentiment and bodily luster of my beloved Radha for the purpose of fulfilling my three special internal desires. I will madden all the living entities in the universe by making them dance in Harinam Sankirtan and by bestowing upon them the most elevated and resplendent prema, which is rarely attained even by the demigods. You will assist me in fulfilling my heart's desires to accomplish this. So actually, Kunti Devi has also said, Janma Ishwara Shruta Shrivi Edamana Madapuman Naivartum Avidhatum Vaitvam Akinjana Gochar. The three things forbid us from surrendering to Bhagavan: Janma, high birth; Shruti, learning; and beauty. If someone is very beautiful, they don't want to surrender to Krishna. So here, Brahmaji said, I am very proud that I am the son of even Vishnu, and that's why I stole your cows and covered boys. So please forgive me, and next time don't make me the Brahman. Don't give me birth in a Brahmin family, but give me birth as a low-class meat-eater family, like Muslim family. She was born as Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was born in Muslim family, so generally people like Qazi, religious teachers, Qazi, and other judicial administrators in Islam, they used to tell, hey, you are born in Muslim family, chant Khuda, Khuda, chant Allah, Allah. But he used to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. They beat him in 22 marketplaces, but he never stopped chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Finally, Mahaprabhu told that, your bhajan is perfect. And then when Mahaprabhu went to Jagannath Puri, he went also to Jagannath Puri. Haridas Thakur was doing bhajan underneath the sky. No bhajan kutir, not even a tree. In the open playground, he was doing the bhajan. So Mahaprabhu told him that it's hot sun, rain, wind, cold. How do you survive? Then Haridas Thakur said, I need nothing. I want to chant only holy name. So Mahaprabhu one time went to the Jagannath temple and he got one toothpick. Like we use the toothbrush, Everyone is using toothbrush, plastic toothbrush. But the problem with the toothbrush is that now the entire ocean bed is full of toothbrushes. Understand? Because people use the toothbrush and discard it, and it is a waste. plastic waste goes to the ocean. But previously, even Jagannath doesn't use plastic toothbrush. Jagannath uses um, the twigs of different trees, like the neem tree or different trees. So Mahaprabhu one time got him a twig which was used by Jagannath for brushing his teeth. And Mahaprabhu planted that bakul. There's one particular tree called bakula tree. So Mahaprabhu got that twig of Jagannath's toothbrush to our Haridas ji. And Haridas ji, and he planted it in the courtyard of Haridas, Bhajan Kuti. And then what happened? A beautiful tree came out of that twig. Although twig, may seem inanimate, but there's nothing inanimate in spiritual, especially Mahaprabhu's touch. It became animate and the wonderful tree came out. It is called Siddha Bakul. So Haridas Thakur was doing bhajan underneath that Siddha Bakul tree. He was chanting Harinam 3 lakhs every day. Because hearing Harinam from Haridas Thakur and also because the tree was planted by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that tree was also perfected tree. So one time when Haridas Thakur left the world, the king's assistants, they wanted to cut that tree. Because Jagannath's chariot's wheel was broken and they wanted a very good tree from its wood they can make another wheel, replacement wheel for Jagannath chariot. So they came and they marked that tree with a cross that we want to cut this tree tomorrow. So the persons who were doing bhajan there, Haridas Thakur's descendants, spiritual disciples and his followers, they told that this is the tree underneath which our Haridas ji has done bhajan. You please don't cut this tree. But they never listened. So next day they come with axe and overnight that tree had become completely hollow. So they said it is hollow now, it is no use, we cannot make a wheel for Jagannath chariot with this. Even today that hollow tree is still there. Understand? So it is called Siddha Bakul. So Haridas Thakur was doing so much bhajan. And although he was born in Muslim family, he was given the topmost honor by Srila Advaita Acharya. One time Advaita Acharya had Shraddha of his father. When your father's Shraddha is there, you generally offer Mahaprasad, you offer Prasad to Mahavishnu or Krishna, and then that Mahaprasad is fed to the Brahmanas. Advaita Acharya, he invited many Brahmanas, but he gave the first seat to Haridas Thakur and he served the Mahaprasad to Haridas Thakur first. All the Brahmanas were very angry. How come you brought a Muslim and you are giving him higher honor than and raised seat, more seat higher than us to him? So they all left to protest. But then they realized that they are committing offense to Haridas Thakur's lotus feet. Advaita Acharya said that he is chanting 3 lakh holy name every day. He is not an ordinary person. If he takes prasad at my home, all my forefathers will be naturally delivered. So then all the Brahmanas, they came back and they honored prasad. And they also respected Haridas Thakur. So Haridas Thakur was such a great devotee, but he was actually none else other than Brahma. But for some reason, Prahlad had also entered the body of Sri Haridas Thakur. The island became known as Antardip because it was here that Lord revealed his internal antar sentiments to Brahma. Antar means internal sentiments. In Sriman Mahaprabhu's pastimes, the same Brahma appeared as Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur, the authority in the chanting of the holy name. Antardip is also known as Atopur. Hare Krishna. Antardip's central point, the Mahayoga Pit, is the appearance place of the Lord and is also known as Mayapur. So Antardip, there are 9 islands, and these 9 islands, the innermost island is like Antardip. You'll see in that book, the diagram, that there is actually a lotus, I think with 8 petals, and there's a whorl, and the whorl of this lotus is actually Antardip. But the heart of Antardip is also Mayapur. Hare Krishna. So Anuprabhu, is Anuprabhu there? Hare Krishna.
Anup,
Anuprabhu?
Hari-
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
You sing one bhajan about Mahaprabhu. I heard that you learned some bhajanas. Can you sing
Okay.
one bhajan?
Okay, no problem. Just make it.
Sing some bhajan because it is any bhajan of Mahaprabhu. Gauranga Bolite Habe or you know Gauranga Bolite Habe?
Yes, I'm just searching for the song.
Yeah, Gauranga Bolite Habe has two tunes, the morning tune and the evening tune. So evening tune, now it's evening time here. Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Gauranga bolite habe pulaka sarira hari hari bolite na aina bhavanira Gauranga bolite habe pulaka sarira hari hari bolite na Yani Bahabanira Arakabani te chade Karuna na hoibe Samsara vashana mora kabe tu jayabe Arakabani tai chade Karuna hoibe Samsara vashana mora kabe tujhe aabe Vishay kabe gabe Shude hai bemana Kabe ham raho Shri Vrindavana Gauranga habe
Puraka
Sharira Hari Hari Boli Tena Puraka Sharira Rupa Raghunatha Pade Oideya Abhihama Bhute Yugala Piri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Oideya Abhihama Bhute Yugala Piri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Rahu Mohorasha Pratana Karoi Sada Narottama Dasa Rupa Raghunatha Pade Rahu Mohorasha Pratana Karoi Dhanararotamadasa Gauranga bolite habe Pulaka sarira Hari Hari bolite na Yani Bhavanira.
Haribo. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So this is a very nice bhajan Anup Prabhu sang. I thank him from the core of my heart. Gauranga Valite Habe Pulaka Sharira. When will that day come that we will realize the mercy of Gaurachandra? When, while chanting his names, Gauranga and Shachinandan, will our hearts be at once melted and our hair stand on end? Understand? These are sattvic bhavas. Sattvic bhavas means the transcendental ecstasies in goodness. We are calling out his names, but these symptoms of sattvic bhavas are not coming. Why are not coming? We are not actually realizing who is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is directly Radha Krishna conjugal. Krishna has come having taken the golden beauty and intrinsic mood of Radhika, and he has become Gaura Shachinandan, Gaur Hari. He tested all the moods of Radha in the Gambhira, and we have been discussing all these topics in Raya Raman Samaj. So Srila Gurudev told like this. So very nice bhajan. So now we'll continue with the Antardeep. Antardeep's central point, the Mahayoga Pit, is the appearance place of the Lord and is also known as Mayapur. This Antardeep consists of Ballal Digi, Urthukunda, a portion of Vaman Pukur, Sri Nathpur, Ganganagar, and other places. Sri Jagannath Mishra's house was within the present Vaman Pukur. Pukur means actually a lake. Pukur means a lake, Vaman Pukur, a lake by the name Vaman. Although Sriman Mahaprabhu eternally performs pastimes here, only fortunate souls can witness them. You see that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, he witnessed these pastimes. When Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, he chanted 100 crore holy names, 1 billion holy names. He chanted. Shatakoti Naam Yajna means every day if you do 3 lakh holy name every day, and for 10 continuous years, you finish the 1 billion holy names. And he did this at Brajapattan, a place called Brajapattan in Mayapur. And he used to eat only one morsel of food. He used to tie his hand behind like this. Then he used to, like a cow, he will go over his head and he will eat only one morsel like this. One grass of khichdi. Understand? And whatever came in one mouthful, only that much he would eat for 10 continuous years. And he had the Japamala. I think it was Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur had given his own Japamala to him. Bhakti Vinod Thakur had also finished that Shatakoti Naam Yajna, chanting 1 billion holy names. That same mala he gave to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada, he chanted on that. And then at the end of that, he had darshan of Mahaprabhu's sweet pastimes. And Mahaprabhu told him, he saw all the Panchatattva dancing and singing, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur was also there, Gaur-Kishore Babaji Maharaj was also there. And they told him, don't worry, we'll help you. We'll send you high-class devotees to assist you. Then he sent Srila Bhakti Pragyan, Keshav Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, and our Gurudev, who are the eternal associates of Sripad Dandi Maharaj. All eternal associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When the foundation to the present grand Yogapit temple in Mayapur was being dug, a small four-armed deity was found. The deity had been worshipped by Sri Jagannath Mishra, whose temple was located in that spot. And just nearby, a large neem tree, Nimai, took birth from Sri Shachi Devi's womb. So you can see that neem tree is always auspicious. Neem is antiseptic. And that's why it's called Nimai. Understand? Sri Shachi Devi's father, Sri Nilambar Chakravarti, was a renowned scholar of astrology and logic. Shachi Devi was highly chaste, devout, and the embodiment of mercy. Shachi Devi is not different from Yashoda. She is same tattva as Yashoda or Devki or Kaushalya. She is the mother personified. So Shachi Devi was highly chaste, devout, and the embodiment of mercy. Her 8 daughters died at birth, and one after the other. She then gave birth to an extraordinary son named Shri Vishwarup. Now this Vishwarup is the elder brother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was Mahasankarshan or Mool Sankarshan. He was learned in the scriptures, peaceful in nature and benevolent. He was omniscient and his intellect was unparalleled. So you can see that this Vishwarup is Guru Tattva. Actually, I was seeing some parikrama with Srila Bhaktivedanta Trivikram Maharaj and Srila Gurudev. Wonderful. I never met Srila Bhaktivedanta Trivikram Goswami Maharaj. He was a beloved godbrother of Srila Gurudev. But I saw that how their exchanges were very sweet and always joking with each other. So much love and affection. So then he was visiting a place, Talwan. In Talwan, there Balram killed a demon called one ass demon. Understand? So Dhenukasur. So Srila Trivikram Maharaj was telling that to kill the ass or the lust in the heart or ignorance or anarthas, to get rid of those anarthas like lust and anger. This is not the job of Krishna. This is the job of Gurudev. And that's why Balram killed Dhenukasur, not Krishna. Understand? Means Balram is Guru. Balram is not different from Guru. He's Akhanda Guru Tattva. So Balram will get rid of the anarthas. So first Vishwarup has to come, who's Balram only, who's the Guru Tattva. And then comes Bhagwan. So he was learned in the scriptures, peaceful in nature and benevolent. He was omniscient and his intellect was unparalleled. Although he was incomparably beautiful, he was completely detached from sense enjoyment. Nimai took birth after Vishwarup. So you can see that Vishwarup, he took sannyas because our Advaita Acharya's strong preaching. Vishwarup was very detached. Although he was very beautiful, he never got married. Nimai was none other than Vrajanandan Shri Krishna himself, who had accepted the mood and luster of Sri Radha. He chose to appear in this world for several reasons, among which 4 are prominent. So this is confirmed in the songs of different acharyas. Brajendra Nandana Jai Shachi Suta Haila Sai Balarama Hailo Nitai Papi Tapi Jata Chilo Hari Name Uddharilo Tara Sakshi Jagai Madhai. That same Brajanandan Samsundar Krishna has come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And same Balramji has come as Nityananda. And they delivered the sinful persons like Jagai and Madhai. Srila Gurudev is telling that there are 4 reasons why Mahaprabhu came. Number 1, to propagate the Yuga Dharma or the religious practice for this age. This is the congregational chanting of the holy names, Shri Nama Sankirtan. Now this is very, very important. Srila Gurudev always stresses Nama Sankirtan. He said, we should all go for Nama Sankirtan. And whether they want it or not, when they hear the holy name, even one Hare or one Krishna will enter their ears, they will be purified. Because people don't want spiritual emancipation or spiritual advancement, but we give them by force by doing Nama Sankirtan. Then number 2 is to distribute what had never been given before, Unnatojola Prema, transcendental love in the elevated amorous mellow. So he gave that Unnatojola Prema, like the mood of the Manjaris, the maid servants of Radharani, to respond to the entreaty of Shri Advaita Acharya, who was perturbed by the extremely religious state of the world at that time. Shri Advaita Acharya had worshipped Shri Krishna with Ganga water and Tulsi leaves, and thus induced the Lord to appear. So this glory of Ganga, Gurudev was telling that where the Chaitanya Mutt is there was a cremation ground of the Muslims. So as you know that in Muslim or Christian religion, they generally bury the dead body. So Param Gurudev wanted to free up that land for development, and it was an important place, birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Other places were covered by the cremation ground. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada told Param Gurudev that please do this. I want that land free. So overnight he dug up their graves and threw their skeletons in the Ganges. And Gurudev said that all the skeletons of the Muslims which were thrown in the Ganges, all those Muslims, they were liberated. Because if anyone's skeleton or even the body ashes or any particle, even one hair after a dead body is thrown in the Ganges, that person gets liberation. So Gurudev said Param Gurudev did a big favor to these Muslims by throwing them in the Ganges. And then he planted big trees there. So as long as Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj was there was no trouble of the Muslims. He was very strong handed ruler, understand? Because he was from a landlord family. So Advaita Acharya saw one quotation from Gautamya Tantra. Tulasidana matrena jalasya chulukena ma vikrinitam samatmanam bhaktebhyo bhaktavatsala. Bhagwan, who is Bhaktavatsal, completely sells himself to those bhaktas who with love and devotion offer him a tulsi leaf and a palmful of water. So this is also Gautami Tantra has said. Bhagavan is Akshay Phalaprada. The process of karma, jnana, yoga are impermanent. But bhakti will give you permanent result. Bhakti will give you permanent result. That's why Advaita Acharya worshipped the Ganges water and tulsi leaves. To fulfill his three confidential desires, Krishna, who is supremely merciful and the enjoyer of all transcendental mellows, accepted the mood and luster of Sri Radha and appeared as Gauranga. He wanted to test the greatness of Srimati Radhika's prem. Understand? Number 2 is to personally test Srimati Radhika as Srimati Radhika does. All the sweetness of his form, and see to test Srimati Radhika's happiness when she relishes his sweetness. Understand? So here, these three desires of Krishna were there. And that's why he came at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now here a very wonderful picture is there, how Nimai took birth. Nimai cried often and only stopped when someone chanted the holy names. It's actually a very wonderful picture here in the book. You can see that how Nimai is actually small baby, there's a small hut there, and all the motherly gopis, they're actually trying to, motherly Brahmani ladies. This is actually a village of Brahmanas. So only Brahmanis were there. So these Brahmani ladies, they were trying to pacify him, but he went on crying. Then they clapped their hands and said, Gaur Haribol, Gaur Haribol, 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 Haribol. Then he stopped crying. Otherwise he wouldn't stop crying. So Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu took birth on 23rd Falgun in the Shakabda era, 1407. Understand? 1407. Now how to remember this year as per the Shaka? Shaka means Shalimahan king's coronation, I think. So Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj says Sindhu. Sindhu means 7. There are 7 oceans. Bindu. Bindu means 1 dot, 0. Veda. Veda means there are 4 Vedas. And Chandra means there is only 1 moon in the sky. Sindhu Bindu Veda Chandra Shaka Kumbha Purnima Syanda Chandra Kuparaga Jata Gaura Chandrama. That is according to the Christian era, 20th February 1486. It was a full moon day and he appeared at twilight. Means evening time he appeared. So I think 18th you will be performing this, celebrating the appearance day of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in your country. There was a lunar eclipse that evening, and everywhere hundreds of thousands of people were singing the glories of Hari. So actually what happens at the time of lunar eclipse, that these 3 planets, Sun, Moon and Earth, they come very close to each other. Understand? And it may so happen that everything may collide and everything may be finished. So people are afraid of that eventuality that all these planets may collide with each other, Earth, Moon and the Sun. So they pray to Bhagavan that please don't let this happen, otherwise the whole world will be destroyed. And they keep on chanting the name of God so that this doesn't happen. So for non-devotees, Grahan or the eclipse is a very inauspicious time, but for devotees it is very auspicious. Any mantra that is chanted during Grahana times becomes perfected very quickly. That is what I heard. So, people were singing the glories of Hari. In such a glorious atmosphere, which was surcharged with the chanting of the holy name, he appeared from the womb of Shri Sachi Devi. Because he took birth under a neem tree, he was named Nimai. Because his complexion was golden in cluster, he became known as Gauranga, golden limb. So his name is Nimai. Actually, the Jagannath deed is also made from neem tree. Understand? So neem tree is considered very holy. Golden complexion Lord. So he is called Gauranga, molten gold. The ladies exclaimed, Haribol, 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 Haribol. And that abode resounded continually with the vibration of the holy names. Nimai's childhood nature was extremely restless, just like Sri Krishna's. Once in the house of Jagannath Mishra, he caught a snake and proceeded to play with it. Another time, he climbed upon the shoulders of a thief and rode on them throughout the town. So actually, that snake was also not ordinary. It was Anantashesh only. He was playing with a snake. But everyone was very scared how the baby is playing with the big snake. And once two thieves came to steal Nimai. Their intention was to steal the ornaments of Nimai and then maybe kill him or something. But then he rode on their shoulders. But by his yoga maya, the thieves could not reach their own abodes or in the jungle. They returned again and again to Jagannath Mishra's home, and everyone was searching. And finally, when they saw that so many people are searching for Nimai, they dropped Nimai there and they ran away. Anyways, they got the same good fortune like Garuda or Hanuman, because Garuda used to carry Bhagwan on his back, and Hanuman used to sometimes carry Ram and Lakshman on his shoulders. So same fortune these thieves got. They carried Bhagwan all around Mayapur township, understand? But they were perplexed and bewildered by Bhagwan's Yoga Maya, so they could not rob him of his ornaments or they could not kidnap him. And on an Ekadashi day, he begged for the food that was being offered to the deity in the house of a devotee. He cried often and only stopped when someone chanted the holy names, at which he broke out into loud peals of laughter. So one time, two devotees, Hiranya, I think Jagdish Pandit and his brother, they had cooked some grains prasadam on Ekadashi, like tomorrow's Ekadashi, right? Devotees sometimes cook grains on Ekadashi day, but not to be eaten by themselves, but they offer it to their Thakurji, deities. That is allowed. For the pleasure of the deities, you can cook grains. Understand? So these devotees, Jagdish Pandit and his brother, they had cooked some nice, wonderful delicacies for their Thakurji, their Shaligram Shila. And Nimai generally becomes quiet. When he's crying, the ladies will clap. Haribol, 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 Haribol. He'll stop crying. But that particular day, that Ekadashi day, how much they said Haribol, 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 he was not stopping. So finally they said, Nimai, what will make you stop? Jagannath Mishra asked him, what will make you stop? Please just tell me. Then Nimai said that Jagdish Pandit, he has made wonderful delicacies. I want those delicacies, those foodstuffs, those grain preparations. Now Jagannath Mishra came to the house of Jagdish Pandit, and Jagdish Pandit lived very far from Jagannath Mishra's house. How Nimai knew? No one knew, because he's Bhagwan, he can know everything. Then Jagdish Pandit was wonderstruck. He said, how does Nimai know that I cooked many foodstuffs today? Okay, happily he gave nice foodstuffs and Nimai ate them. On Ekadashi he ate the Gain Prasadam, because Ekadashi is for us, for the sadhakas. But for Bhagwan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Bhagwan Shri Krishna, there is no Ekadashi restriction. So on the day of Ekadashi, he accepted the grain prasadam of his devotee. But later on, Mahaprabhu started following Ekadashi. When he grew up, after initiation, he was acting like a devotee, and he would fast on Ekadashi. And he requested his own mother, Kechi Mata, also for one malediction. Oh mother, if you really love me, don't take grains on Ekadashi. Kechi Mata said, I am a married woman. My husband is still alive. This vrata is only for widows. Because previously there was a misconception in India that only widows should follow Ekadashi. Those whose husband is alive don't have to follow Ekadashi. But our Nimai told her, no. Whether you are married or unmarried or you are widowed, no harm, you can follow Ekadashi. You must follow Ekadashi. So here you can see that sometimes on his way home from school, he would play games in the Ganga with the other children. Understand? So in the Ganga, he would play with the other children and, pulling their legs, going underneath the water, acting like a crocodile. He used to do all that stuff. And when his elder brother Vishwarup accepted the renounced order, however, Nimai's behavior became more subdued. Now here you see a picture, very wonderful picture, that one time one Tairthik Brahman, he came to Nimai's house. And Nimai actually he used to make offering with Gopal mantra. He chant Gopal mantra, he'll chant the mantra, and then he will make offering. Actually, we have to, Gurudev was also telling that making an offering is also very important. Like many devotees, they chant Pranam mantra of Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Namam Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya Putra Shivati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Or some people chant Namo Brahmana Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha, Namo Mahavadanyaya. These are not the mantras for offering. So Gurudev said that the mantras for offering are different and they are given at the time of Diksha. Understand? So we should learn, take Diksha from a Sadguru and learn how to make offering. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj told the beginner devotees, because they had no Diksha, many of them had no Diksha, only Harinam. He told them something. But actually, one should learn the proper way of making offering from Guru, and Archan Deepika book it is given. So he was making offering, and Nima used to come and eat his food he is offering to Krishna. He is Gopal, he is Shaligam Shila. So then he used to shout that, oh, I have not even made offering and your son came and he made it jhuta. He contaminated the offering by eating it. So 2 times this happened. So 3rd time he shouted and then he manifested, I think, the 6th form, 8-armed form, I think, 8-armed form. Shankha Chakra, Gada, Padma and flute and all. And he told him that you don't recognize me. You are Krishna. You are making offering to me with Gopal Mantram. And chanting Gopal Mantra, so I am coming and eating. And now you are shouting. Don't you know that you are my eternal devotee? So like this. And he said, don't disclose this to anyone. So like this, Nimai twice or thrice ate the offering of this Taitik Brahman. A Brahman who was always touring the holy places. He had stayed in the house of Chichimata and Nimai exhibited these pastimes. However, when elder brother Vishwarup accepted the renounced order, Nimai's behavior became more subdued and he studied at Sri Gangadas school. Now, Gangadas Pandit is apparently incarnation of Sandipani Muni. Like Krishna is studied in the school of Sandipani Muni. Understand? And 64 days Krishna studied 64 arts. And one time Sandipani Muni's wife told Krishna that no wood is there, go and fetch wood. Although it was raining, Krishna went there. Overnight they stayed on a tree and we were drenched in the water of the rain. Sudama and Krishna. This pastime is very famous. So then by the blessing of Sandipani, Krishna learned all the arts very quickly. And once Krishna performed the pastimes in Braj, Krishna left for Mathura and Madhumangal went to Ujjain or Avanti. When Madhumangal, the son of Sandipani Muni, returned to his father's place, once he went to the ocean and he drowned in the ocean. So then they requested Krishna that please bring our son back. So Krishna went to the ocean and he saw one demon there. And then he killed that demon, Shankachud or something. And then, Panchajan, demon by the name Panchajan. On his head there was actually a conch shell. Krishna thought that Madhumangal may be in that conch shell, but he took that conch shell, he killed the demon, but Madhumangal was not there. Then he went to the abode of Yamaraj and Mahakalpura, and then from there, he brought his god brother, his guru's son, Madhumangal, back. Understand? So like that same, I think the same Sandipani Muni had come at Sri Gangadas Pandit. And he had a toll. The toll means Sanskrit school. Sanskrit school means where they teach Nyaya, grammar, Vyakaran and all. So Vyakaran is quite difficult. Vyakaran is very difficult. One time one Brahman was studying Vyakaran and studying, he became very sick. Then he said, this is not Vyakaran, this is Vyadhikaran. Vyadhi means disease. He brings disease. And another Brahman student was studying Vyakaran and it was so tedious, he got fed up and he got married. Then he said, this is not Vyakaran, this is Vivahakaran. This encourages one to get married. So anyways, whether you know the grammar or not, you should chant Hare Krishna mantra. It doesn't need the knowledge of grammar at all. Although the Mahamantra is in Sanskrit. So here, Gangadas Pandit used to teach in Sanskrit. And his classmates were Gadadhar Pandit, Damodar, Jagadananda, Mukunda and other boys. This Jagadananda Pandit actually used to quarrel with Mahaprabhu. And when Mahaprabhu took sannyas, Jagadananda Prabhu also went to Jagannath Puri. Gadadhar Pandit also from Brahmin family. His father's name was Madhav Mishra. So Gadadhar Pandit also followed Mahaprabhu. When Mahaprabhu took sannyas, he also went to Jagannath Puri, Mukunda and all. So they were all classmates. Later he established a Sanskrit school in his own home where he taught grammar. So at one of the Ganga's ghatas in Antardip, he crushed the pride of a champion of erudition named Kesho Kashmiri and instructed him in bhajan. So you can see that Mahaprabhu, one time there was a great scholar by the name Kesho Kashmiri had come. And that Kesho Kashmiri apparently had blessing of Saraswati Devi. And due to that blessing, he had become very, very proud. And he challenged all the scholars all over India, and he used to defeat them in the debate or in poetry, in erudition and scholarship, and he used to take from them the letter of victory. He used to ride on an elephant. So in this way, he used to crush the pride of all the scholars in India. Finally, he came to Navadvip. In Navadvip, he asked the Panditas, who's a great scholar here. Then all the scholars, they told that Nima is the greatest scholar. Because they thought that Nima is a very small boy, he will be naturally defeated. And if a small boy is defeated, no one will mind it. So they send him to Nimai Pandit. And Nimai Pandit, he was with his students, and in evening time he was sitting on the bank of the Ganges, and that great scholar came there, and he said, "Are you Nimai?" He said, "Yes, I am Nimai." Then he said, "I want to debate with you." Then Nimai said, "I am just a very small child, and you are a very big scholar. I know very little grammar. I am just a student." Then he said, "No, you should debate with me." Then Nimai told him that, "Please glorify Ganga. Glorify the Ganga with your in poetry." Then he actually chanted 100 verses. Keshav Kashmiri composed 100 verses. 100 Sanskrit verses, very difficult verses to remember or to compose. Very, very complex verses he composed. And he spoke them like the flow of the Ganges river. Mahatvam Gangaya Satatamidam Avati Nitaram Yad Esha Shri Vishnu's Charana Kamalopatti Kamalotpatti Subhaga Dvitiya Shri Lakshmi Riva Suranare Archa Charana Bhavani Varturya Shirasi Vibhavati Adbhuta Guna. The greatness of Mother Ganges always brilliantly exists. She is the most fortunate because she emanated from the lotus feet of Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She is the second golden goddess of fortune, and therefore she is always worshipped both by the demigods and by humanity. Endowed with all wonderful qualities, she flourishes on the head of Lord Shiva. So actually, he spoke this verse. Very wonderful verse. But Mahaprabhu told him, "You should tell me the 5 ornaments in this verse and 5 defects." Then he said, "There are only ornaments, there are no defects." But Mahaprabhu started finding the faults in his poetry. And in this particular verse, Mahaprabhu found the faults. And then his pride was crushed. Then he told Saraswati Devi, "Why you didn't come to help me? That small boy defeated me today." Then Saraswati said, "How could I come before you? And how could I come before him? He is my husband. I am Shuddha Saraswati. I am his wife. Lakshmi and Shuddha Saraswati are the wives of Lord Narayan. How could I come before my husband? So then go and surrender to him," Saraswati told him. So finally he came to Mahaprabhu and he took Gopal Mantra from Mahaprabhu, accepted him as a guru actually. Understand? So that is what it is. Basically he became the disciple of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Keshav Kashmiri. Mahaprabhu told him, do bhajan and don't be proud. Don't try to show your scholarship. So, in Antardeep, he was married twice. First to Lakshmi Priya Devi, and after she left this world, to Shri Vishnu Priya Devi. So, Mahaprabhu married twice. He married Lakshmi Priya Devi. But Mahaprabhu once went to Bangladesh, Eastern Bengal, to teach Sanskrit. And in separation is like a snake. So, this separation, the snake-like separation, beat Lakshmi Priya Devi and she left the world. So then he married Vishnu Priya Devi. It was from here that he traveled to Gaya, where Shri Ishwarpuri initiated him into the chanting of Sri Krishna's names. So actually you see that Mahaprabhu's father had left the world. In Gaya, apparently there are the footprints of Lord Vishnu. If anyone will do Shraddha to the forefathers, then his forefathers will be easily delivered there. So Mahaprabhu went there to do Shraddha of his father, but his real purpose was to meet a great devotee by the name Ishwarpuri. And Ishwarpuri told him that, I think I have visited your home. I met your father and your mother. And I think they honored Prasad at your home. So anyway, he asked the mantra to Ishwarpuri. And Ishwarpuri gave him Hare Krishna mantra and Gopal mantra. And he gave him the 10 syllable Gopal mantra. Previously in our Sampradaya, there was only Hare Krishna mantra and Gopal mantra. Because devotees were very advanced and they could get perfection simply by chanting two mantras. Hare Krishna mantra and Gopal mantra. But because we are so fallen, that's why Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada and our Guru Maharaj have given us Brahma Gayatri, Kama Gayatri, Gopal mantra, Guru Gayatri, Gaura mantra, Gaura Gayatri, Panchatana mantra, Hare Krishna mantra, and so many mantras are given because we are very fallen and we need so much more help. So in this way, Ishwarpuri is the real Guru of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he returned, he had become transformed into an exalted devotee who constantly tested transcendental sentiments. Understand? And finally, in a mood of detachment, he left his aged mother and his wife Vishnu Priya and crossed the Ganga to accept the renounced order in Katwa. Katwa also means Kantakgram. In the month of Magh, in the cold season, he jumped in the Ganga, crossed the river. His wife had slept, Vishnu Priya had slept, because he called Yoga Maya to put us to sleep. But his mother was awake. He circumambulated his mother 4 times and she could not speak a word, and he went to the Katwa, and there he told Keshav Bharati, who is incarnation of Akrura, give me sannyas. But there was actually, Keshav Bharati said, you go and ask permission from your mother. He was willing to go and ask permission from mother, but Keshav Bharati said, you are smiling, it's so sweet, your mother will agree. So take sannyas. So he called a barber to shave his head, but barber could not muster enough courage to shave his head. And Mahaprabhu uttered the Hare Krishna mantra in the ear of the barber, and loudly that barber chanting Hare Krishna mantra shaved the beautiful curly dreadlock hair of Mahaprabhu. So in this way, Mahaprabhu became sannyasi in Katwa or Kantakgram. Kantakgram is a Sanskrit name. Now the new name is Katwa. So Mahaprabhu, his name became Sri Krishna Chaitanya. He got sannyas from Keshav Bharati. But before he took sannyas, he told Keshav Bharati that yesterday you came in my dream and you gave me one mantra. So Keshav Bharati said, what is the mantra? Then he uttered the sannyas mantra in the ear of Keshav Bharati. Keshav Bharati said, exactly, this is the mantra. So Mahaprabhu actually not took initiation from Keshav Bharati, rather he gave initiation to Keshav Bharati and then again heard the mantra from him. So in this way, Keshav Bharati ji, he was actually initiated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu also took mantra from him and took sannyas. His name became Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Generally, Chaitanya, Krishna Chaitanya is the Brahmachari name, but Mahaprabhu kept that Brahmachari name. Later in Shantipur, his mother requested him to take up his residence in Puri Dham instead of Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu wanted to go to Vrindavan, but Nityananda Prabhu tricked him and brought him to Shantipur. In Shantipur, his mother met him. His mother could meet him, but his wife, Vishnu Priya, could never meet him. Generally speaking, sannyas means what? Sannyas means you have to give up who you love the most. Mahaprabhu, who he loved the most? He loved Vishnu Priya the most. So therefore, he had to give up Vishnu Priya, because that is what is sannyas all about. You have to give up who you love the most. And then, but she was a very advanced devotee. So Mother Sachi told that don't go to Vrindavan, stay in Puri Dham. At least I will get some messages about you I'll get some news about you. Otherwise, if you go too far, I'll not get any message about you. He later left Puri to travel throughout South India, where he discussed Bhakti Tattva with Sri Ramananda Rai on the bank of the river Godavari. When Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri, Sarum Bhattacharya, he met Sarum Bhattacharya. He made Sarum Bhattacharya from a staunch Mayavadi into a great devotee. Then he told Sarum Bhattacharya, you are a great devotee. Sarum Bhattacharya said that, I don't know anything about Bhakti, but if you really want to learn about Bhakti, go to a great devotee called Sri Rai Ramananda. He is actually a king of South India under the Pratapudra Maharaj. So Mahaprabhu embarked on the South Indian pilgrimage, but his main intention was to meet Sri Ramananda Rai, who is actually a Priyandaram Sakhi of Krishna by the name Vishakha Devi. In all, he remained based in Puri Dham for 24 years, the first 6 of which were spent traveling to Vrindavan, South India and other places. During the remaining 18 years, he experienced an unceasing restlessness caused by the feeling of separation from Krishna. So the type of separation Mahaprabhu experienced in Gambhira was like what the gopis experienced in separation of Krishna when Krishna left Vrindavan and went to Mathura. So the same separation Mahaprabhu was experiencing, the separation of Radharani. Sarup Damodar and Rai Ramananda were able to pacify Srimad Mahaprabhu's specific moods by reciting appropriate verses from Srimad Bhagavatam or by singing songs by Chandidas, Vidyapati or from Jayadev Goswami's Gita Govinda. Understand? So you can see that Gita Jayadev Goswami apparently was living previously in Navadvipa-dhama only. He was one of the great poets in the courtyard or in the court of in the royal assembly of King Lakshman Sen. There were many other great poets there, but the best among them was Jayadev Goswami. Later on, Jayadev Goswami came to Jagannath Puri also by the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he didn't want to leave Navadvipa-dhama, but for some special reason, Lord ordered him to go to Jagannath Puri. Gita Govinda is the wonderful poetry. Srila Gurudev has given the Hindi and English translation of that book. Chandidas was also a great devotee. Although his name is Chandidas, but he was a great devotee of Krishna, and Vidyapati was also a great devotee. He had conducted his married life as an ideal householder, and when he renounced it, he lived a life of complete detachment. In this way, he set the example how to engage in the ideal renounced life of a bhajan. So Mahaprabhu, you see, when he was a grahastha, he was a perfect grahastha. When he was a sannyasi, he was a perfect sannyasi. So Mahaprabhu's pastimes, you can emulate them. You can follow them. But Krishna's pastimes very difficult to emulate. You cannot emulate them or you cannot imitate them also. Ramchandra's pastimes, you can emulate them because he was also showing an ideal life of a householder. So when Sriman Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas, the lives of Mother Shachi and Vishnu Priya Devi became filled with intolerable separation from him. At that time, they were cared by Sri Ishan Thakur and Sri Vamshi Vadarananda. In separation from Mahaprabhu, Vishnu Priya forgot to eat, drink or tend to other bodily needs. Indeed, she forgot everything and became extremely weak and frail. She simply chanted the Mahamantra from morning to noon, and for each mantra she put aside 1 grain of rice. At noon, she prepared that rice and offered it to Sri Radha Krishna and a deity of Mahaprabhu. She then offered the prasad to Shachi Devi, who would accept some and leave the rest, which amounted to a mere handful for Vishnu Priya Devi. With a restless heart, she remembered Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu day and night, and as she chanted the holy name, she wept. Faithful devotees received darshan of her lotus feet only after repeated request. Unable to tolerate separation from Sriman Mahaprabhu, Vaishnavas like Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Advaita Acharya and Sadashiv, Shivas Pandit gradually moved away from Navadvip to reside elsewhere. Later, when the Ganga flooded a large part of Navadvip, the inhabitants of Navadvip moved to the western bank called Pulia Pahadapur. So Shachi Devi's delivery room where Nimai's umbilical cord was cut. Here under a neem tree, baby Nimai took birth from the womb of Mother Shachi. The original tree has since departed from this world and a new tree has grown in the same place. So you can see that there is a wonderful tree there and it is under the Chaitanya Mat now. Chaitanya Mat is there. Original Chaitanya Mat. This is the Yoga Pit Mayapur. Understand? very wonderful tree. They give prasad there, they do kirtan there. Kshetrapal Shiva or Gopishwar Mahadev. So in the Yoga Pit, Kshetrapal Shiva, the protector of the Dham, is eternally worshipped. He is also known as Shri Gopishwar, and he bestows the service to the Dham. Pure devotees who perform their worship in accordance with the followers of Sri Rupa Goswami, the Sri Rupanugas honor Kshetrapal Shiva as Gopishwar Shiva and pray to him for eternal service to Gaura, that is devoid of material attributes. Shri Gaura is the embodiment of Rasaraj Mahabha, the combined form of Shri Radha Krishna. Gopishwar Shiva's Pranam mantra from Srila Vishnu Thakur's Shri Sankalpa Kalpadruma text 103 is Vrindavana Vanipate Jai Soma Soma Maule Sanaka Sanandana Sanatana Nardedya Gopishwara Braja Vilas Yugangri Padme Prema Prayat Chindirupati Namo Namaste. O gatekeeper of Vrindavan, O Soma, all glories to you, O whose forehead is decorated with the moon and who is worshipful for the sages, headed by Sanak, Sarandan, Sanatana and Sanarad, O Gopishwar, desiring that you bestow upon me prema for the lotus feet of Sri Radha Madhav, who performs joyful pastimes in Brajadham, offer obeisances unto you again, time and again. Hare Krishna. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Vanchakal Patra Vishnu Kripa Sindhu Vijayapradhanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namah. So I think I have taken much of your time. So I hope Maharaj went to a place called Hosur in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka border. So Maharaj called me 3:30 that please take my class in my place. So I performed the class today. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Params Maharaj. Thank you so much. So much. Thank you. Thank you, Dandavat.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Rasa Priya, sing Jai Divani, please. Rasa.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Okay.